what happens is, when we run a business, we step up to the plate. All right, we're going to advertise. That's what we're going to do. And then we realize, what the hell are we going to talk about? What are we going to say? What's the best way to connect with consumers? And it's usually a fail. And I'll tell you why. Because we don't know what to do. We don't know what we're doing. Or we do something because that's the way it's always been done. Back in the old days, back a long time ago in Mad Men times, they used to say, what you need to do is reach out and touch someone with the same message a minimum of 3 times in order for it to sink in. That was in 1964. Do you think advertising clutter has gotten better or worse since 1964? Oh, it's worse. It's everywhere. In fact, it's on these. Everywhere you look, somebody's sponsoring. Come on in this house. Sit up close. You know, I'm not using fire in my act anymore, and that girl's hair is growing back and that lawsuit's almost over. The bottom line is, we are living in an over-cluttered world, where a few years ago, Advertising Age magazine said that the average person is being exposed to a minimum of 2,500 commercial impressions a day. From the time you wake up to the Timex alarm clock, it says Timex on it, you jump out of bed, get the newspaper, in my case, Austin American-Statesman, you look at the coffee pot that says Krups or whatever, you pick the brand of coffee, and it's this barrage of images. You turn on the news and you hear commercials, you know, and it just goes on and on and on throughout the day. Well, recently as about 5 years ago, Advertising Age changed that from 2,500 commercial impressions a day to 5,000 commercial impressions a day. So it's definitely getting worse. And we have filters. We filter a lot of this crap out, right? So how do you stand out? How do you stand alone now? How do you make sure that the people who need you the most will see and hear and know you? Is it possible that you could run an ad campaign possibly worth $1 million to your business over a 5-year period? Is it possible that when people think about your product service category, that they only think about you? The answer is yes, if you know what you're doing. Is it possible that your competitor is making a horrible marketing and advertising mistake that you could easily take advantage of? Is it possible in 2015, is it possible, it's a frog, is it possible that without sacrificing your gross margin of profit, you could still bring people into your business without giving anything away? Answer is absolutely yes. But we're methodical about this, and I'll tell you what I think. I think that what keeps me up at night is thinking about what keeps other people awake at night. And I'm not talking about farting dogs or snoring spouses. I'm talking about what keeps them awake at night, what kinds of anxieties are people going through. And we're talking about the average consumer out there today. What kinds of anxieties are people going through? What would you think? Financial? Yeah. You know, are we going to be able to keep our house? Does he love me anymore? Is she cheating on me? Does this body make me look fat? Or my kid is a rotten kid. That's your DNA out there, you know. Or that someone you know or someone you love or you has an illness of some kind. It could be anything. What if the car doesn't start tomorrow? Man, you know, if I'm late to work again, I've got to get my kids to school on time, so it's an iffy car situation. Or I'm in trouble with the tax people. You know, all kinds of things out there, and what I think is they have an anxiety that one of your businesses could easily solve. And there's a problem. The people who need you the most, those lying in bed awake at night, with a problem, and you over here that could easily fix that problem, they don't know who you are, or they're not even thinking about you as a solution. And you have no idea how to reach them. So the medium becomes the connector between those in need and those who can provide. So this is called to sell the truth. Let's think our way through this thing. I've heard people say before, you know, Paul, I tried advertising and it didn't work. I've tried radio advertising and it didn't work. And I've heard that enough. I mean, I absolutely believe them. It did not work for them. Let's talk about what could have gone wrong. There are 5 things. It could be one of these things, or in some cases, all 5 of these things could have gone wrong at the same time. 1, wrong demographic. You're fishing in the wrong pond. That is, a guy who owns a skateboard shop or several skateboard shops, he's advertising on a conservative radio talk show. Does that make sense? No. But he says, well, I listened to it. I thought everybody else did too. No. Second, the schedule you're running is insufficient. It's just not enough in an overcluttered world. And we'll talk about how a lot of people arrive at how much money they plan on spending on a campaign, and often it's not very scientific. Sometimes they say, well, they say that we should be spending 4 to 6 or 8% of total revenues on advertising. Who are they? They were psychologists. I'm sorry, accountants. Almost the same. My wife is an accountant. Her father was an accountant. You know the difference between an accountant and an actuary, don't you? An actuary is a person that always wanted to be an accountant but lacked the personality. This, they say 6 to 8%, by the way, also came from 1964. I went to my dentist. She's beautiful. Her name is Happiness. Her parents were hippies. She's beautiful. So before I go to see her, I'll eat an entire bag of Oreo cookies so I can stare at her longer. Anyway, Happiness took my blood pressure one day. I said, what the hell are you doing? She says, I'm checking your blood pressure. I said, why? She says, because a lot more people come to the dentist than go to the doctor, and sometimes we find hypertension. And she goes, oh, Mr. Weyland, your blood pressure is really high. Could it be because I know they're about to drill on my tooth? You know? I'm saying, that's funny, it's always low. She said, no, it's really high. And it alarmed me enough that I made an appointment with my doctor. He goes, Paul, your blood pressure's fine. Now open your mouth. Open my mouth. He gets the tongue depressor and a flashlight. He says, I want you to go back to your dentist and tell her, I think you might have a cavity. In other words, what's she doing messing in my business? And it should be the media that knows what the appropriate amount of time you're buying should be if you want to dominate that category, for example. Do you have any packages? You hear that? Yes, we have good, better, and best. What's best? You own the category. You own it. What's better? Well, you're probably in a position to own the category, but for some reason you're not. What's good? You got your foot in the water a little bit. You know, if you're going to do something, do it right. But it is an issue. The budget, where does it come from? My friend Harry Mackey, you'll see some, or hear some commercials here in a minute from him. I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm running on this radio station. I said, how's it working out? He goes, not very well. I said, what are you spending? He says, $1,750 a month. I said, where'd you come up with that number? He says, pulled it out of my rear end. That's what he did. It's the truth for some people. You know, where does that budget come from? It's worth thinking about. Third problem, and we'll go into great detail. You'll know more than probably anybody in Ireland about what constitutes a good spot or a bad commercial, or any kind of ad. We'll talk about that at length. People have horrible creative issues. Usually the commercial is not about the consumer, it's about you and your business. It's not about them. And everything focuses on them, those lying awake at night with these problems. Standing room only. Are you warm? Good. It's cold out there. Next problem, marketing problems. That the business had pre-existing marketing problems before the campaign ever started. And advertising a business that nobody wants to have anything to do with, I mean, advertising it is just putting lipstick on a pig. You know, it's still a pig. It's a beautiful pig now, but it's a pig. And so, you know, Paul, I've been an optician all my life, and I love the business, but I put all my money into this new project. What's that? Well, it's a prescription windscreen for your car. What? Yeah, so you don't have to wear glasses when you drive anymore. I think that'd be a horrible idea. It may be good for you, but I think it'd scare the hell out of the other passengers in the car. Whoa! People coming from the opposite direction. My God, did you see the size of that man's head? No, 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 no. Marketing problem. The last problem, number 5, would be completely mismanaged expectations about results. What you expect to come out of this campaign. So, I have a person in the clothing business. Anybody here in that line? And he says, Paul, he owns a haberdashery for men. And he's not cheap. It's expensive. He says, Paul, I want to advertise on your station. Now, the station reached about 100,000 people a week. The average cost per commercial was about $100. And he says, I want to spend $1,000 on your station. I said, Chuck, let me ask you something. Out of that 1,000 you're spending, how many people, because his average sale, by the way, $800. Suits start at $1,000, shirts, you know, $150, ties, $1.25, shoes, $400. I mean, is there a market for that? Absolutely, right? There are people that would buy that, and that's very nice. I said, so what is the average? He goes, $800. I said, so how many $800 do you think you have to sell in order to justify the $1,000 you're spending? He says, I don't know, 80 or 90. Whoa, wait a minute. I used to work in that business when I was at the university. And I know that a gross margin of profit is keystone, or what we call 50%. So you go to market, you buy a nice blouse, for example, and it's 100. You'll take it back to the store, mark it up 100% to 200. And then when you sell it, to determine gross margin, you have to figure, what do I have in it? 100. What's left over that you can invest back into your business? 50%, 100, the other 100. And so that's gross margin. And knowing that, and knowing his average sale, now, how many new customers would he need in order to justify the 1,000 to break even? 2.5. We settle on 3. As we say in Texas, 3 is a fur piece from 80 or 90. Where did he come up with that number? God knows. But we had that conversation. Then I explained what we're going to talk about today, the difference between good and bad advertising, the calculated risk. It's not gambling. If you run a, you know, if you cast good bait and you cast that bait often enough, you're going to catch some fish. So I said, so it turns out that if we reached somewhere between 1/258th of 1% and 1/512th of 1% of our weekly audience, he would break even. The magic number is 3, and that's the number. That's a small fraction of the 100,000 a week. And so he goes, huh. I said, Chuck, instead of 3, why don't we go after 12 new customers? He says, sneaky Weyland, I know what you're doing. We'll go after 9. So he triples his own budget. And he had 15 people that came in. We were the only thing he did. And they'd heard it on the station, and they bought. And Chuck is ecstatic. But what if we'd never had that conversation? What would he be saying? It didn't work based on a number from outer space. I don't even know where. A number from Uranus. His anus. Anyway. So I've known businesses that had multiple problems. Wrong demo, insufficient budget, mismanaged expectations. What's next? Boom, you're out of business. It's hard, especially in a recession. Then I started putting 2 and 2 together a few years ago because I started seeing this pattern emerge. What's wrong with this creative? What's wrong with the message? and it hit me like a hot kiss at the end of a wet fist. It was this, the script. It's the script. That's the problem. It's the copy in the ad. It's the copy on the website. It's the script in the message. That's the problem. A lot of businesses become so frustrated with this advertising problem that they'll spend 90% of their advertising marketing effort and money going after the worst, most disloyal 3% that would only buy you if you had the cheapest price. Who wants to deal with them? They're disloyal. They'd only buy you if you were the cheapest. Everybody's dealt with people like that. My sister-in-law's name is Mary. She lives in an exclusive part of Houston, and she frames art for astronauts. Alan Bean is an artist, and he brings her pieces, and he trusts her to frame them. Her work is exemplary. Her nieces call her Aunt Merlot, because Mary will drink at work, or Aunt Mary Jane, depending on Mary's mood. But she does exemplary work. It's great work, but one day she says, Paul, it's so frustrating. I said, what? She says, these people that just keep trying to grind me on the price. And Mary can't see any further than the end of her nose. It's really bothering her. And I said, you know what? I bet you're really talking about an insignificant portion, because most people would, educated people buy more than uneducated people. Would you agree to that? If I'm educated about a product or service, then come on in this house. I'm much more likely to, price becomes smaller, and acquiring the product or service is much, I'm sold. I just want the product or service, not the price. Remember the movie Meet the Parents? Do you remember? I'm watching you. Are you a pothead, Fokker? Are you Puffin the Magic Dragon? Remember that movie? Remember Robert De Niro? You're in the circle, or you're out of the circle of trust. I think there are two circles of trust. One would be your close friends and relatives, and the other would be those professional people that have been in your life all your life. You know what I mean? Like, I've had the same doctor, Steve Margolin, for 40 years. I've had the same dentist for 17. I've had the same heating and air conditioning person for 20 years. I've had, the same financial advisor I had, but now she's out of my circle, and there's a hole in my circle because she is fired. So I'm looking for someone now in that category that I can trust. But these people, all of these people, have had massive price increases throughout the years, but I've not fired them. Why? I trust them. I think they've got my back, right? And that I can depend on them when I need that product or service. Same garage for 10 years. I think they've got my back. So I continue to go to them regardless of price. We had a plumbing issue. Aren't all of them emergencies? Any plumbers in the room? Okay, so the issue, I'll figure out what you people do before this evening is over, I swear to God. So, the issue is the plumbing, and it's gross, and it needs to be taken care of. And so back then I went to the Yellow Pages. Wow, funny how that went away. And I'm looking in the section, and I see Roto-Rooter. I thought, no, I'm paying too much for the name. So I went to a more obscure Mr. Rooter, and the classic plumber showed up with the plumber's crack, the sweaty armpits and black goo on his fingers, and he's touching the walls as he's coming through, and he smells like cigarettes, and he's going, Nancy's freaking out. She's like, living with her is like living with a non-felonious version of Martha Stewart. I mean, she's clean, 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 clean. And she's freaking out at this guy in our house, who then comes into the bathroom with the problem, a big guy sits down on the toilet, and the damn thing turns over, breaks, water's going everywhere. He has to call his boss. And then they turn off the neighbor's water instead of mine. And it's just getting worse, I just want him out of there. And then suddenly he says, dude, do you mind if I smoke? And I'm going, what? Outside? And Catholic honor. He went outside and lit a joint. I'm not kidding you. And he's out there going like this, and then I'm coming out and he's going like this. And I said, absolutely not, because I know where his fingers had been. I watched him. Anyway, next time we needed a plumber, Nancy says, I'll call the plumber. And she had a recommendation, and we call, and the dispatcher must have been to the Dale Carnegie School. He goes, immediately, oh my God, ma'am, I'm so sorry you're having the problem. I think I have a man maybe 20 minutes away, we'll see. And then he calls back, yes ma'am, 20 minutes. He says he's wrapping up now. Then he called again. He's finished early, he's on his way. And then finally, is he there yet? Yes, he's here. His name is like Alonzo or something, and he is a hunk. And he's got the booties on and the nice blue uniform and a nice big smile. And she goes, oh, Alonzo, you know, come on in. And he comes in and he fixes the problem. And very polite, cleans up after himself. It's cleaner probably than when he got there underneath the sink, and then he leaves. Dispatcher calls, did he do a good job? Yes. Did he do everything he said he would do? Yes. Well, will you use us again? Yes, I said, before I saw the bill. And then I went, damn, you know, he's expensive. And Nancy says, I don't care. I don't care. So she's willing to trade treasure for what? Good service, peace of mind. What else? You know, that dependable, clean, that he's clean. So next time we needed a plumber, she says, go upstairs and get that invoice from last time. I said, they were expensive. I don't care. Value trumps cost with her. That's for damn sure. By the way, a friend of mine is a surgeon, and he needed a plumber, and the plumber came over, and he finished the job in 15 minutes, gives the surgeon the bill. The surgeon goes, my God, I'm a surgeon. I don't make that much money. And the plumber says, yeah, that's what I used to say back when I was a surgeon. So value trumps price. So what did I discover? I discovered that in commercials and in ads, somehow we lost that. Every single day on the lot, in the showroom, in the store, over the telephone, at your desk talking to clients, you say the perfect things, the perfect talking points. In some businesses that are generational, generations of known workable talking points that you give to people to help them justify a purchase, right? And finally, they're convinced and they say, okay, I got you, here's my money. Every day it happens, right? With successful businesses, every day we tell people the right thing. And they go, oh, that makes sense to me, here's my money. And they give you the money. But then when it's time to advertise, this is the disconnect. We all of us have the same lifetime of experience watching television, listening to the radio. So suddenly, when it comes time to talk advertising, our eyes roll up in our heads and out come words and phrases that you never use when you're talking to customers. Never use. They're called cliches. I call it the herpes of human language. You know, that's what it is. Like glitter is the herpes of the craft world. You know, it's fun to catch, but you can never get rid of it, you know. And so it's these cliches. Family owned and operated, all right? Now remember, we're talking to someone with a real human need out there who can't sleep. Do they care? What does family owned and operated mean? What does it mean? Well, my sons Eddie and Rick both work here. We want to know where those little criminals are every minute of the day. But what's in it for me, the customer? Well, everybody that works here is ASS certified, or whatever the hell it is. It might as well be ASS, because no one knows what it means. It's not real human speak. It's ad speak, and it just comes out because we've heard these things our entire lives. What is your name? Julie, I have a sister named Julie. Can you imagine that Julie and I, you walk past and we're having a conversation like this. Julie says, Paul, this is one red hot, sizzling summer sale we can't afford to miss. I said, yes, Julie, we'll love their loyal and eager salespeople, eager salespeople, and their prices just can't be beaten. And Julie says, yes, Paul, but only for a limited time and only at participating stores. And then at the end, factory invoice, man. All I hear when I hear, we'd never have that conversation. All I hear when I hear that factory invoice, we just lied about everything we just said in this commercial. We're lying, we're lying, we're lying. How about not lying? Then you wouldn't need the disclaimer. Or if you're gonna lie, why not lie all the way and put the disclaimer at the beginning of the commercial so it sounds like the end of the last guy's commercial? Just a thought. This guy in Oklahoma City, he'd been to one of my seminars before. He says, Paul, I saw you last year. I loved you. I brought my business partner with me. You know, I've learned so much from you. I think, is it about the cliches? Is it about how to, you know, calculate return on investment? He says, no, it was about putting that cliche, that disclaimer at the beginning of the commercial. I said, but that was a joke. He says, well, it's working for me. He's a knucklehead. So I think about that. I thought about it a lot. And so then I started writing scripts because I'm still hanging on to this script because that's what we do. And so I started using the best friend test on every single script. If you wouldn't say those exact same words to your best friend, then it doesn't belong in the copy. You know, so you read it out loud. And if you wouldn't say those same words, the best friend test, then you change it and, you know, on your website or in your flyer or whatever it is and get rid of those damn things because they're worthless. They're like fleas, you know. They're the cockroaches of human language. And people have wasted trillions of dollars through all of these years because their copy is terrible because of these cliches. We're wasting our money. Some commercials are almost 100% cliche. You know? I mean, it's really a plague. Then I got smarter and I said, why in the hell do we need a script to begin with? Why? Do you use a script when you talk to customers?
No, just talk naturally.
Exactly. Who uses a script when they talk to their customers? But hurry, with prices like these, selection won't last long. We must sell 50 units this week, we must! Honey, grab the checkbook, we have to help them. They must sell 50 units this week. Come on. Who's the advertisement supposed to be about? You or them. Identifying and solving problems for people just like you do every day at work. What's wrong with just selling the truth? Let me show you what happened to my friend Harry Mackey, who is one of the sweetest, kindest, most mellow, easygoing, honest people I've ever met in my entire life. An exemplary human being. You'd love to spend a day fishing with him. He's just a remarkably good person, and he runs a great, clean, honest business. He rents cars and trucks to people. And so I said, is your advertising working? I'd been in Europe. He says, no, not really. Since you left, I mean, no, it's not good. I said, what are you doing? And so then what he did was played the commercial that they're using for Harry. This is a 1-minute crap master extraordinaire piece. I mean, and this was done by an advertising agency. Listen for cliches. I'll stop.
To rent cars and trucks. It's called Longhorn Car and Truck Rentals. Longhorn Car and Truck Rentals has been a family-owned and operated.
Family-owned and operated.
Genuine Austin original.
Genuine Austin original.
For over 30 years with Austin and Brown Rock locations to serve you.
Locations to serve you.
Need an insurance replacement rental while your car is being repaired? You don't have to go to those national car rental companies. Choose Longhorn Car and Truck Rentals for.
Choose Longhorn Car and Truck Rentals.
A wide variety of.
Wide variety.
Tied to full-size cars, weekend specials, and a warm family-friendly environment.
Warm family-friendly environment.
Longhorn Car Car and Truck Wheels has the truck you're looking for.
You're looking for.
Carry a wide variety of small
Wide variety.
duty trucks, including quarter-ton and three-quarter-ton pickups with a towing head.
What's with the guitar solo?
And one-ton crew cabs and flatbed trucks with gooseneck hitches, 15-foot to 24-foot box trucks, single and tandem axle.
He's telling about everything Harry has, like, you know, like Harry's bragging about this or something.
Trailers and more. Longhorn Car
And more.
Truck Wheels can move your crew too.
Move your crew.
15-passenger van, Suburban, Explorer, or minivan, or quality service and selection.
Quality service and selection.
Hook up with the best.
Hook up with the best.
Car and Truck Rentals. Call 452-1773 today. Go online at longhorncartruckrentals.com and roll with it.
And roll with it. How many cliches do you think? What percent of the commercial? What percent? 75, 80%. I count 17 bona fide cliches in that commercial. Do you remember the phone number at all? No. 10 pounds of poop in a 5-pound bag. That's exactly what that is, right? It's where they shoveled 10 pounds of crap in that commercial. And it was only a 5-pound bag. It's terrible. Who's it about? It's about Harry's place, but it's terrible. I mean, and it in no way represents in any way, shape, or form the way he would talk to a customer on the lot. So now we're doing this. Now, in Austin, Texas, there is there's a boom, you know what that's like, and all this construction going on everywhere. And a lot of these crews, these construction crews, these contractors and subcontractors have younger workers, wouldn't you agree? And so very important, you know, if you try to rent a vehicle from one of the international companies, you've got to be 25 years old. And he has a difference, something of substantial difference. And so now we use 1 or 2 ideas per commercial maximum. And this is what he has to say.
Typically, you've got to be 25 to rent with the majority of the national chains. Here at Longhorn, if you're renting a car and you have proof of insurance, you can be 18.
Big deal?
Most everything else in either large trucks, you need to be 21. Well, our prices beat everyone in town. I mean, frankly, you know, if you want to just get to the pocketbook, my rental rates are cheaper than everyone else. We are on Interstate 35 on the southbound frontage road between 51st and Airport Boulevard, just north of the downtown area.
Do you believe him? Why? Because we have a lifetime of experience listening very carefully and knowing if somebody's lying to us or not. I know he's enthusiastic about what he's selling. Most of all, he's just being him. Isn't this simple? From his lips to your ears. We take the damn script away completely, and now he talks about things that really matter to customers. I peel back these layers of BS and get down to those nuggets. I'm sorry, nuggets of information. You know, remember, educated people buy more than uneducated people. So then, you know, 1 or 2 ideas per commercial, that's it. Here's one on a different subject.
We sell our vehicles once they get to a certain mileage. It's typically right before the 36,000 mile mark for cars. Pickup trucks typically go a little higher. We make sure that all the maintenance is done timely and make sure everything gets done appropriately. So that translates into a great value if you're looking for a used vehicle. So give us a call. You know, we'd love to talk to you about that. We are on Interstate 35 on this.
In the old days, if somebody said or I would cut it out because I needed room for all those cliche things, right? And I also sucked out breaths. I have a huge box of breaths at home. We can do that with machines. So if, you know, I smoked one time. If I need those breaths, I'll suck those out near the end of the life. But I kept them. So, you know, we edited, we sucked all the joy out. You know, God forbid the customer has a sense of humor and laughed. You know, let's suck that joy out of the commercial. You know, what I want to do with To Sell the Truth is show the heart and soul of the people that actually work behind that wall at that place. A window into their moral compass. A look at the heart and soul, the compassion, the expertise, the enthusiasm. This is what I'm looking for, right? These are edited. It's not like somebody just whips out 30 perfect seconds. In a 20-minute conversation, though, I can probably pull out 7, 8 commercials. And we run maybe 3 at a time. The bread and butter, 50%, and then we're experimenting with this over here, and we want to run this over here. Sometimes in some of the commercials, they don't even talk about the product or service. They say, when did the right thing to do become more of an opinion than just the right thing to do, right? And I'm thinking, every time I hear this guy or woman, I like her more and more. She sounds like someone that might someday wind up in my circle of trust. I know her, and I shut up and listen if the subject is appealing to me. You know, if it's cliche, maybe I don't hear it. But these I hear. And what? A commercial without an announcer? Man, it sounds more like content than an ad. Do you see what I'm saying? Last night I was at my new favorite place, Munster's Bar. I like them.
Munster Bar.
What?
The Munster Bar.
The Munster Bar. Herman was bartending. That little thug Eddie was there too. Anyway, I mean, they said, oh, we heard about you on the radio, and what do you talk about? I gave him a little, you know, I said, all right, so you tell me. And this guy sitting there. Apparently, he comes there a lot, because I said, do you come here often? And they all started laughing and pointing at him. and then I said, tell me why you come here. He says, hell, I come here because I love these guys. And we love our bartender. Apparently the guy is just a sports freak, and he knows everything. And so they watch football there, and that's where they hang out. And, you know, great. If I heard that, maybe that's where I want to hang around. But it's real. He's telling the truth. Then the bartender says, yeah, I mean, I love, it's an honor to work here because it's been around since 1870. You know, it's really a cool place to hang around. And they didn't mess it up. You know, people come in and they screw up something like that.
We sell our vehicles once they get to a certain mileage. It's typically...
Did I play this?
The 35, 36,000 mile mark.
That's not the one. It's this one right here. If you have an insurance issue.
If you get into a wreck, somebody hits you, you hit them, and you need a replacement vehicle, you have a choice. You can choose local if that's what you want to do. And instead of going with one of those big chains, you can bring us your claim information. We'll deal with the insurance company for you. We will take care of any and everything that needs to happen with that so that you can go on with your day. We are on Interstate 35, on the southbound frontage. Frankly,
People love the commercials that he's doing. I mean, they just absolutely love them. And he's hearing from people now.
Revenue's up. We're here from 18. I would say, you know, making these commercials is probably one of the best decisions we've made in the last 10 years.
They work. A jeweler texted me the other day and said, you are a freckin' genius, using his thumbs. And you can be a freckin' genius too. This is what happened. David used to read his commercials. And frankly, he wrote his own scripts. He says, well, I write my own scripts. I said, yeah, but it's all about you. And he reads with a cadence. He goes, no, 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 no. So you know he's reading, and because he's reading, I can't read him, right? It's like a wall. He sounds like a prisoner of war reading a forced confession. You know, no, 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 but I can't read him. And I have a lifetime of experience reading people if they're not reading to me. If they're talking to me, then I have some basis for reading into personality. So we got him off the script. Immediately things started to change. Now he talks about real things. Ladies, take a listen.
The girl gets the engagement ring, and you know, maybe she gets it on a Saturday, and she puts some Band-Aids on it to keep it from, you know, turning around on her finger. And she comes in at 9 o'clock Monday morning, and we'll have it sized for either by noon or by close of business that day, depending on the level of difficulty. We know that she doesn't want to wait a week to get that engagement ring sized and back on her finger Kruger's Diamond Jewelers at 8th and Congress in lovely downtown Austin, Texas.
Do you get that? I mean, it's a real issue. He talks about broken jewelry. My wife has a jewelry box filled with stuff with a kink chain or something's wrong with it. She doesn't wear it. It just sits there. And so, you know, he addresses that.
A lot of people have boxes that have broken stuff, like a broken chain or a broken earring. So if you bring that in, you can use that as a trade-in. But a lot of the things that people think are unfixable can actually be repaired. And we'd at least like the opportunity to take a look at it. If it's something, a favorite piece of jewelry that you think is completely unrepairable, bring it in, let us take a look at it. You would be surprised at the miracles that we can work on broken jewelry.
Kruger's Diamond Jewelers, downtown, 8th and Congress.
Wow. You know, people are hearing these, and they like them, and they feel like they know him when they come in, because he has these continuing vignettes of conversation with the people, teaching people how to use him. You know, it's great if you have a boyfriend that likes to, or a husband that likes to buy you jewelry. It's a drag if the person has terrible taste, and you open that box and you go, oh, God, thank you. Thank you. So David tries to teach men, you know, he does a series of commercials to them as well. And he teaches people what's cool to buy.
So the goof-proof gift is diamond earrings. You cannot go wrong. She will not bring them back. Diamond earrings are something a woman can wear 24/7. She can wear them to blue jeans. She can wear them to the pool. She can wear them to the gala. She can wear them whenever. The good thing about buying diamond earrings from us is if you start out with a pair that's $300 or $400, you can always trade those in and get a larger pair. We'll always give you at least what you paid. And if we don't have it, we'll make it up for you, maybe even within an hour.
Kruger's Diamond Jewelers, downtown, 8th and Congress.
So on and on, these vignettes of conversation, and now David thinks completely differently. When he goes back to the shop and he hears people talking about something, suddenly he says, you know, that's the 5th time this has come up this week. I should make a commercial about that. And so he's thinking differently. Also, if it's not him making the commercials, it's his best customers that are voluntarily, without owning any piece of his business, that would voluntarily go on, and you never know what people are going to say. And sometimes it's just fabulous. We had a couple. She survived almost 2 months away, 5 years, breast cancer. And the husband is saying, yeah, I told her if she gets past this 5 years, I would buy her a great big honking pink diamond. And he says, David, only 2 more months. You know, it's March, and May is, the beginning of May is the date. I hope you found that diamond. And then one time, I asked a woman, she was middle-aged, she'd just gotten married for the first time. And I said, what does the engagement ring mean to you? You know, trying to assign more value than just a damn rock, you know, that the engagement ring signifies something else. David talks about that a lot. But she looked at it and she said, well, and she said, I guess it means I'll never be alone. And then she starts tearing up and she says, I don't know, and she starts to cry and she said, it grounds me. Would you ever think to write that in a script? No. One time, Harley Davidson dealer. I said, what's your biggest problem with sales? He said, wives. It's the truth. What do you need $30,000 for a motorcycle? We could remodel half the house for that. I said, do you have female wives that used to feel that way and now they feel differently? He goes, oh, hell yeah. He sends this woman to me. I said, so you didn't want him to have the bike? She goes, absolutely not. I think it's insane. And his old talking point, you know, honey, I'm going to buy this bike. It's going to save us money on gas. Oh, yeah, right. Done. Yeah, that's toast. It doesn't work anymore. He needs something. And then so I said, so what happened? She said, well, his need to have it was greater than my need for him not to have it, so I let him have it. I said, what happened? She says, everything changed. I said, what do you mean? She said, every nice weekend, we get on that bike and we go for a day trip, or sometimes we pack for overnight, and I just love sitting on that motorcycle with my arms around my husband. I love it. I love it. Now what does the Harley represent? Rekindled relationship, right? What value do you put on that? Do you see? Talking points. Things that make things possible. So in the commercial, we try to give you talking points so that you can go on then to your partner and have ammunition. Like anybody here in the furniture business? Good for you. What we're doing now, things have changed. You know, back in the old days when people were moving more, they'd buy whole housefuls of furniture. The average sale dropped in our country from about average of $1,200 to somewhere around $850 after the recession began. And so now, you know, and you're never talking to men. It's only, you're going after female. And that's what you do. And so I drop these talking points in, like, you know, maybe one new piece of furniture could be the cheapest remodel you could do in a room right now. Talking point, right? Or how about this one? How about this one? When you come home and you look at the furniture in your home, does that furniture represent the taste of the person you've evolved to now? Or does it represent the taste of someone you used to be 15 years ago? Maybe it's time to update. And now you have those talking points. Mattresses? One day, one of my clients owned 6 vacuum cleaner stores called Austin Vacuum Cleaner Company. And national competitors started selling the same items he was selling, vacuums, all sizes, makes, models, for sometimes less than what he was purchasing them for. Even Oric, who was a product with him, you know, they violated the terms of the contract, opened their own store in Austin. What's he going to do? Sue Oric? How long would that take? You know, how much would that cost? So he shut down 3 stores. I'm there. He says, Paul, it's bad. You know, I just don't know what to do. And I saw all these boxes piled up. I said, what's all that stuff? He says, that's allergy-related stuff. It's covers for your pillow and mattress that keep dust mites off of you. I said, dust mites? What are those? He showed me a picture of one. He says millions of them live in your pillow and mattress, and every night while they're sleeping, they come out and crawl all over you, feeding on your dead skin cells. I said, really? What do they look like? And he shows me a picture of this microscopic thing blown up. And it looks like Alien and Predator got together and had an unholy love child. I mean, it's hideous looking. It's got big old teeth. I said, good God. I said, what do they do? He says, they crawl on you and feed on your dead skin cells. I said, and that's what causes your allergies? He says, oh no, Paul, it's much worse than that. And I'm going, what could be worse? He said, it's their fecal matter. I said, you mean they poo-poo on you? He said, yes. And then you inhale the poo-poo, and that's what causes your allergy. Why? Do you think you could do something with this? And I'm going, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. There will be no cancellation today. Now, who would I pick on, men or women? Oh, for sure, mostly women. I mean, a few men out there, but let's face it, most men would sleep in their own poop. You know, honey, I don't know what happened. I'll clean it up when I get up. I'm sorry. It's only happened twice before. But women, so I call Nancy Flancy Plants, Nancy Fancy Pants, that's her maiden name, she's Cajun, Fancy Pants. And I read this thing to her, and she said, I hope you bought some of those things while you were there. Not one mention of price. and here's what women heard on their favorite station over and over and over and over and over. It's not a question of who you're sleeping with every night, but what and how many. Every night while you sleep, millions of dust mites, up close they look like giant cockroaches, I made that part up, come out of your pillow and mattress and crawl all over you, feeding on your dead skin cells. But it's not the dust mites themselves that cause your allergies. You know, it's worse. It's their fecal matter, and you hear a woman scream. And you don't sleep with monsters. Go to Austin Vacuum and get these Taskmaster, write it down, allergy relief pillow and mattress covers that breathable, that dust mites can't penetrate. And, bless you. I know where you're coming from. Remember that chicken flu that went around for a while? I'll tell you what, a sneezing chicken would clear a room just like that. So he calls me. He says, Weyland, just keep running those damn commercials. We've run out of them. But UPS is bringing more. I said, what's going on? He says, well-dressed women, nice cars, driving up. Looks like they haven't slept very well. He said, that's the most disgusting commercial I've ever heard in my life. I can't even sleep in my own bed without thinking about those things crawling all over me. And guess what they're paying? Top dollar, full price. Because value trumps price, right? It's a fact. It worked. And it hit me. And I thought, this is where I'm headed from now on. I don't care about hard sell. That's done. It's not your mother or father's commercial anymore. Millennials don't want to hear that crap, the cliche stuff. They want facts. They need information. So let's educate them in real speak, not ad speak, and it works. With proper questioning, we will get the information out of you, the same talking points you use when you're talking to customers. I mean, it's great. We had a guy from Benjamin Moore Paint. It's a paint company. He says, if another man never comes into my business again except to deliver paint, that's fine with me, because they're deal killers. This is expensive paint. And now he talks, it's weird. He's got these conversations. He's got people thinking about color. He says, I get it all the time. Is the green you see the same green I see? You know, stuff like that. So these are the kinds of things that I watch for to sell the truth. What's wrong with the truth? Tell people, give them the information they need to make an intelligent buying decision. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Yes, sir.
My son's birthday candles are being lit, so I have to choose between my customers and my wife. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
As I say in America, it's been real.
That's real. Healthcare issues. So typically, as things start to change, the nouns are disappearing, or, you know, suddenly dad has 37 cats. Things are changing. And usually in the town with the individual is either the middle or youngest sibling, usually female. They are the caretaker. And then everybody comes in for some big holiday celebration. And they notice, what the hell is wrong with dad? And the caretaker, the sibling gets the blame. And frankly, nobody knows crap about what to do, because we don't want to think about that. We don't want to think about that. So one assisted living place, one of these people that deals in elder care could run commercials that brings the subject up and then says, you know, for the answer to this and any other question you might have about elder care, just call us at 472-CARE, or just go to 472care.com. And if they can't help you, they can refer you to the people that could. But the idea is people are desperate for information, and we're giving them crap, you know. Is there something we can do? Yep, we can change. In your industry, you are the expert. You're the purveyor of cool. You know, the bottom line is the bottom line. And I think, do people need to go? Are we about there? What I wanted to tell you, if you run your own business, if you own a business, I mean, the days can be hard, yes? And the nights can be long. And the work can be emotionally demanding. But it's all worth it, isn't it? Isn't it? Can I get a yeah? Yeah. Because the results are shallow, transparent, and meaningless. Not really. Thank you all. I just wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to say, do we have questions from anybody in the room about anything regarding marketing and advertising that I might help you? Did you learn something? You know something that people don't know. I'm telling you, your competitors are not here, or maybe if they are, the gamesmanship just went up a notch. You want to give people the information they need in the most informative and normal manner as possible. What do you guys do?
Car
What is it? Cars, what kind?
Opel and BMW.
Opel and BMW. I love those cars. And they're fun to drive. You know, the average car on the road now is 12. 12! People haven't been on a lot in 12 years. What kinds of things have developed? If somebody hasn't been on a lot in 12 years, what do these cars do that they didn't 12 years ago?
Seems any boy.
What? What did he say?
Seems any boy.
They do stuff.
Everything, yeah.
All kinds of things that make people's lives safer.
Park assist.
What?
Park assist.
Park assist, yeah. You know that little thing? The Cadillac STD or whatever the hell it's called. I was talking to a Cadillac dealer and he says, oh, remember when you were a kid and you were trying to stick two magnets together from the same pole and they resist? I said, yeah. He says, Paul, that's the physics behind the suspension system in the new Cadillac whatever the hell. I said, really? He goes, yeah, you wouldn't believe the ride. Raise your hand if you knew that. I get car and driver. I didn't know that. Now, just do me a favor, raise your hand if at least now someday you'd like to test drive a suspension like that just to see what it feels like. Where's that commercial? Right? He says, Paul, it's all about the price. It's only about the price. I said, no, it's not. It's not all about the price. I know I could drive from Austin, Texas to San Antonio, that's 90 minutes, and maybe save $300, maybe. And then how much in gas is that going to cost me? But then there's something you know. If I buy from you, you've got my back. Is that right? Let's say, do you ever have warranty situations that come up where technically the owner is out of warranty, but you have clout with the manufacturer and you're able to take care of part or all of that repair bill in some cases?
Be careful what you say now, lads.
It's true, isn't it? You can say, you know what, it doesn't work every time, but we don't work for the manufacturer, we work for you. So, you know, and one of the richest car dealers in the known universe, apparently, he lives in my neighborhood and we hang out. He owns 80 or part of 80 car dealerships. And he says, yeah, that's one thing car dealers can still do, you know, the margins are so close, but that's one thing they can still do. You've got, you know, a little bit of a pool of money over here that you can dip into if you need to, but you can go to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer can say, well, you know, we'll discount the price of the parts, and you can say labor will pay for the parts or whatever. And the bottom line is you can do things. And that happened to me, and it was a $1,500 situation where it was a plastic part, but they had to pull the engine. And $1,500? He said, Paul, we took care of it. I said, wow, thanks. Do you think I'm looking for a new car dealer? I may have paid $200 or $300 more. That was the best $200 or $300 investment I ever made. I think they've got my back. That's a very strong statement too. You know, we've got your back. Ladies, raise your hand if you ever thought that a car repair facility was trying to rip you off or treat you like a little girl. Whoa! Where's that commercial? You know, I tell auto repair facilities, I say 5-year plan, year after 5 years, female after female after female, no scripts. I totally love him. He's great. He takes good care of me. I feel very good about working with him. I think he's very honest and sincere. I love him. He's really sweet. You know, get an announcer to have to say that. And ladies, he's really sweet. You see, she can say it. She can say it. Why not listen to them? And, you know, people take their car to a place that's either near where they work or near where they live. Raise your hand if you heard that over and over from all these satisfied women. Would you consider, raise your hand if you'd consider making that shop a destination. Where's that commercial? See what I'm saying? Value supersedes price. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Any questions, please? Does this make sense? Radio Carry is smart. We're smarter than we look. Let me tell you why. They know that if you know how to use their medium better, that you might buy them more. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's the only reason, to teach you how to use the damn thing better. And you know, that's what you want to be doing too. And through this medium, you can start the process of teaching consumers why they need you. And you know what? David Kruger never has to talk about price. He said, I don't want to be a special occasion jeweler. I said, then David, you're going to have to teach people how to use you. And so all these different ways, you know, he never has sales, especially around Valentine's Day, and I keep him on track. You know, sometimes he comes up with something stupid. You know, McNair's Sporting Goods, he's a friend of mine at the club, and he says, you know, he wants to work out a deal. What if they spend $3,500 on a diamond on Valentine's and I throw in a free shotgun? I said, no, David, no shotgun on Valentine's, no. Focus. So think about these special occasion businesses. Anybody a florist in here? I didn't think so, unless you're just holding out on us. But, you know, I said to a florist, I said, sometimes do you get notes dictated to you that even make you want to cry? And she goes, oh my God, yes. I said, why don't you just, for the next 5 years, read us some of those notes, because some people are really good at expressing themselves and other people have good intentions, but they're just not good like that. Teach them what to do or what to say. He says this from a daughter to her mom right before she leaves the city for college for a long time. And it's just the sweetest thing you've ever heard in your life, you know? And so that's what she does. And pretty soon she's giving you ideas, reasons to call. Right? I want you to think about something. Speaking of deep sell, I hate hard sell. I don't like soft sell because there's no call to action, but I do believe in deep sell. That's when you reach deep inside and touch an emotional place that's already there. Can you think of a person right now that if they got flowers from you today with a note, it wouldn't just make their day, it'd make their week? Can you think of that person? Well, get off your rear end and call us and let's make it happen. Call us at 472-ROSE or just go to 472rose.com. Right? Any more questions? And you know what? I'm around for the next few. If you need me, just call me, or I've got some cards if you want one, and you know, you're always free to contact. If you're working with them, you got access anytime. I got to tell you, I love this radio station. It is real Cary. I mean, about as real as you can get. I love it. You know, hardly anybody has a radio station like that anymore. They're going away with all the murders and executions. I'm sorry, mergers and acquisitions going on in media. It's a fun place to be. Thanks for doing well in one of those beautiful places on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you want, talk to Paul.
Talk to Paul.